Yo, what's going on, True Living Tribe? I hope everybody is enjoying their evening or day or wherever you're tuning in from. My name is Michael Peluso. I'm the founder of True Living, and it is a great honor to welcome you and introduce you to the phenomenal human beings that I got on the show today. You guys recognize them as being key and pivotal people inside of our organization. Karina and Tony Doty, how you guys doing?
Woo-hoo. I'm
I'm
better now.
good. This is exciting.
We got Karina on here.
Hello.
All right, so for those of you guys who haven't had a chance to get to know Karina, and I'm gonna and you know for those look, if you haven't had a chance to get to know Karina, she is our marketing director. She is a workhorse for this organization. She's behind the scenes making everything that you know, love, and enjoy possible. And she's a phenomenal human being. She helps us plan our retreats. She is there as a facilitator, a marketing facilitator in the organization, helping many, many, many people overcome the challenges that show up in marketing and in life and in living a healthy and balanced lifestyle. So it's really an honor to have you on the show, Karina.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. That was a nice introduction. Yeah, I would consider myself a website artist. Okay. Okay. And it's really just because with marketing, it's all about the feeling that you put into the colors and the text and the fonts and the imagery, the videos. It's all about the feeling, because that's really the authentic communication that human beings communicate with. It's through energy, and how things feel. So I use that in my marketing strategies.
Yay! Yay for marketing. And Anthony, how are you doing this evening? Those of you guys who you guys already know who Anthony is, the one and only Anthony. Anthony, how you doing this evening?
Doing okay, buddy. Very happy to be here. Happy to talk about the genesis of our company, the future of our company. Happy to have Karina here, and I feel like it's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
I love you guys.
And
For
by the
sure,
way,
Wonder
you're Wonder
Woman. I
Woman,
don't know
Mike.
about the other one.
So let's talk a little bit about the genesis of the company, because I think that for people to really understand where we're headed, you really got to understand what brought True Living into the world the way that we know and love it, right? I mean, it's definitely, I think that, I think that when you conventionally think of an organization or a product, you think of it as something fixed, but True Living has been such a living, growing, breathing organization. I mean, we're constantly changing aspects of it, and fine tuning and changing our focus. I mean, how has it been for you guys to be part of it? I mean, I guess why don't we start with, like what brought each of you into the organization and what had you fall in love with the organization? Then I'll share a little bit of the backstory of what had it show up the way that it did, being the founder, and then we'll talk a little bit about where we're headed. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds great.
Very
Anthony,
cool.
do you want to start with that?
I can start because I kind of segue into you. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, a lot of you guys know, so I've had the background in, direct sales. I did very well in my 20s with that. And, got to the point where I was just speaking everywhere and doing all kinds of cool stuff, and had the privilege of working with all kinds of names from, big name people in the 70s and the 80s to, the music space, to Olympic gold medalists, right? And coaching athletes and having a very large organization, and just had a lot of fun, right? And I was privileged to, co-found a very large anti-bullying charity where we were giving back and supporting with a well-known gold medalist, another gentleman who's an author. And then I got in a bad car accident. I was in bed for about a year, and for a year and 8 months, I didn't remember anything. And we just hit the 3-year mark. But this past January, I met Mike through a friend at the end of December, and I met this gentleman on the phone, Mike Peluso, became a bestie with me right away, and he started doing some of his neurosomatic, modality that he uses to help heal. And the next thing you know, I just started, doing a bit more, right? And I literally did nothing, right, for 2 years and about 8 months. But I did it with him the night before I went to a big event called Author 101. I speak a lot about this, and that's how I met Gary Krebs, who was, on not too long ago. reconnected with my buddy Len Davis, the movie producer, and a lot of these other producers I know in Hollywood. That was the catalyst that night. I was terrified to go to my first event in almost 3 years. And I was, again, used to speaking to these events regularly. And I was going to be there without my wife. And I had 7 people flying in from around the country. And I was still dealing with a lot of post-concussive stuff. And, I'm not going to pretend like I feel wonderful right now all the time. But Mike had a conversation with me that evening. And that conversation from a neurosomatic standpoint on the phone was just tremendous, where the next day things just kind of started catapulting, and I met some incredible people and I reconnected with a lot of old friends. And the next thing you know, helping people out in Hollywood again, and getting some people book deals and all kinds of cool stuff. And Mike and I just took a kinship to each other and started meeting more people and pulling more people on the show. And I opened up a lot of my ideas to him that I would never really share with anyone else, because I love him and trust him. And now we're building this together. And then there was a superior human being on the phone, this Wonder Woman type figure that I met through True Living. And I shared a little bit more with her as to why I think she should be involved a bit more with the company. And that happens to be the girl that's in the middle of Mike and I right now. If we don't call her Karina, we have to call her Wonder Woman. So I'm going to give her the time. I'll let her share her side of the story from that point on.
Oh my God, Anthony, they're so funny. So, so the night that I joined, Trevor invited me, and Trevor and I have never met yet, although we live in like the same area. We went to the same high school. But somebody, told me like, oh, you're a lot like Trevor. You should reach out to Trevor. So I did, and so then he sent me an invite to this webinar, and I was like, what is this? Like when I joined, I was like, what did I get myself into? and I was like, and Mike was so high. He had just such high energy, and I'm like, what is this? And so I chimed in. I was like, what is this? And then Mike said, what did you say, Mike? He said something about like, that you coach people, and I'm like, oh my God, okay. I was like, all right, I'll stay on until I learn something. And I learned so much that night. Like I learned so much, and I got to share what I do. And so actually I do so many different things, and I wasn't sure what to say. Trevor messaged me and he was like, hey, can you talk about Kangen water? And I was like, yeah, of course, I'll talk about Kangen water. Like I love talking about Kangen water. I've been wanting to. So I spoke a little bit about it, and then Anthony chimed in and he was like, hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow. I have some things to talk to you about. And he actually did. He actually called me the next day, and we had like a 2-hour-long conversation. It was long, and it was so great. Oh my God. That was like the thing that shifted everything for me, because that's when I started to like, pretty much, Anthony, you were like, girl, your story has value. Like your story could be a book. And you were like, why don't you start writing a book? And I was like, you're like giving me, like, I've been seriously, like, I guess waiting for permission for someone to tell me that my story is valid and that I should write a book, and that's exactly what you did. And you let me know that you have all these, connections to people that can help make it happen. And it was just like the most hope that I have experienced in so long. So like, seriously, thank you, Anthony, for that, because that was a really big, like, not just really big, that was probably one of the biggest shifts that I've ever had in my life, just from talking to you that one time.
Wow. Well,
and yeah,
welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And we've been amazing friends ever since. We freaking drive each other insane.
I only talk to you 14 times a day, but yeah.
Now we like work together. We work together.
Yeah,
on so
you're
many
like
projects.
on every call, on a 3-way call. But I wanted to say something right there, just real quick with what you said. You have, everybody. So before this, right, before True Living, I would speak a lot under the umbrella of the Makeover man, right, the Makeover movement. And I believe a makeover is exactly what you see on TV, right? You see somebody go on Oprah when Oprah was on, and they're looking like a hot mess, and then they get brought backstage, half hour, 45 minutes, hour later, they come out and they're looking like incredible, right? And it's not that they got, they didn't physically morph their skin and, reshape their, what happened is there was a makeover specialist that knew how to go in, pull the beauty out that was already there, and then have that beauty shine, right? Like Mike quotes Michelangelo a lot, I just carved out everything that wasn't David, right? So David's shown. And so, that I think is my gift from God, is the ability to see the beauty in a human being and then be able to kind of pull that out of makeover, so to speak. And it doesn't happen in 10 years or, 20 years or 5 years or a year or a month or whatever. It's like that. Literally, it's a finger snap. It's like Tony Robbins says, the moment that momentum begins in a moment is what I'm trying to say. So I saw that in you, and it was already there, girl. I just started kind of sculpting, and then Mike took over the chisel after me, right?
Yeah. Well, then I actually got to talk to Mike, who I was like, I don't really want to talk to Mike. From the beginning.
She actually said that.
I did say that, Mike. And then we actually started working together, and I was like, oh my God, like we're together perfectly. Like, this is amazing. And it's just so funny though, because actually, Anthony, I wanted to go back to the point you made about like the beauty, like pulling people's beauty out of them. Because I was grocery shopping yesterday, and Anthony and I were talking about this topic. It just came up. And on the phone, like everyone's like probably wondering, what the hell is this girl talking about? But we were talking about how one of the most valuable things in this life is to see something as beautiful. But that's just a mindset. You can choose to see what is beautiful. You can choose to make something beautiful. Even if you may see it initially as unattractive or ugly, you can literally change your mind and see the beauty in it. And now your life will be more beautiful, because like you will love more things about your life because you just shifted that mindset. And and that's really what both of you do for people. You're facilitating this process of uncovering the false, the false hatred that they have for themselves, because it's not a lot of us just feel like there's so many bad things about us. We really focus on our flaws, and you guys just focus on the beauty of someone, and that just allows them to come out of their shell. And that is what facilitates leadership. So and thank you both for doing that.
Thank you for being you. Absolutely.
Namaste. Namaste.
I had $1 for every time a conversation ended like that around here. I honor the place in you in which the whole, all right. So Karina, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, you guys are amazing human beings, huh?
So we've been doing it ever since.
I guess.
I think this is a little bit of a dream team. I do. It's not like, hey, we're great. It's other people are great, and we have different gifts to pull things out of people. And what I love about Mike, where I might start something, that process, right, of finding that inner beauty, Mike is truly, whatever terminology David was, a chiseler. I don't know what he was, like David, or Michelangelo, excuse me. Mike is that in regards to like the human soul. Like he really, really is, And it's very interesting because, he gets a little, he's so humble. But when you really have a deep dive with Mike, with me, I get people excited. Yes, I connect them this one, whatever, in hopes to help their dreams come true, help make them realize things quickly and all that. But Mike does like this deep dive. Like, I'm going to be real. When we're off the phone, when we're off the Zoom tonight, Mike's going to work with me personally, right? And he's been helping me out to basically heal the brain, right? From a very severe, car accident and a lot of stuff attached to that, right? And like you said, Dr. Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, right? And he has this unique ability, and this entire company is founded on it, of just changing, the glasses from maybe their black colored glasses or red colored glasses to the proverbial rose colored glasses or blue or yellow, whatever, because, reticular activating system says that, life's a mirror, you get what you project, right? You always find what you're looking for. If I told you, look around, the old Tony Robbins, look for blue, look for blue, look for blue, look for blue, stop. Tell me everything that's the color red. Reticular activating system is going to find everything that's the color blue, and you missed a lot of red. So Mike is ingenious when it comes to that. So thank you, brother.
Oh, thank you guys. It's an honor to be on the call with such amazing people. I think and to answer, Anthony, and every conversation we've ever had has been under the umbrella of true living facilitation, right? I mean, we use different modalities, but the bottom of the line is that they all point towards a particular realization, and that realization is that you are perfect, whole, and complete within this moment. That you can believe and experience the effects of believing in the illusion that you're not, or that you can in some way improve upon who you are at the foundation of your being. But that is just the belief in an illusion, right? I mean, you are perfect, whole, and complete, and that includes the times in which you're feeling slightly uncomfortable about being perfect, whole, and complete, or about your environment. So for me, like, what it is I think that when you really can live in a fearless state of mind, so to speak, and you're present to the beauty, when you're speaking to someone, you're speaking to a perfect, whole, and complete human being. And from seeing someone as that, you can very easily recognize the belief in an illusion that they may try to convince you of within a particular moment. And so it is, for me, it is being present to who someone truly is, and being, what would the word be? Present to who it is that they really are, and being willing to be a stand that they see themselves for who it is. That being said personally, recognizing the importance of seeing yourself for who you are. So that's really honestly the foundation of what true living's been built on, right? I mean, what we did is we said, well, and it kind of came with this philosophy of like, well, I'm here, I'm in existence, right? And I'm not an error in existence. I've chosen to experience what it is that I'm experiencing, or I haven't chosen to experience any of it. Either way, it's all foundationally good. It's all good. It's all beautiful. It's all natural. And you can sense that too. We say, well, there's two states of being. There's a beautiful natural state, and then there's a suffering state. And people are often in that suffering, and you'll recognize the suffering state because there's a sense of trying to get out of it within it. It almost is like asking you to leave it. When you're in your natural embodied state, there's a sense of you in it. There's a sense of gratitude. There's a sense of permanence to it. You're just like, it's just beautiful and natural. And what's interesting is that when we let go of all states of being and we just allow ourselves to be, that foundationally, what someone would say, very neutral place that we come into is really beautiful and natural, right? It's a beautifully natural, neutral place. It's like having a blank canvas and having the opportunity to create anything that you want on that canvas by authoring who you are within a given moment. Saying I'm going to be a surfer, or I'm going to be a creative musician, or so you have that opportunity to enter into any one of those definitions, and you have that opportunity because you are the author of your life. You are the artist on the canvas, and that canvas is initially blank. So that's really what true living has kind of been sculpted around, this idea. And so, with that in mind, the idea is that, okay, well, there are certain things on a very practical level that produce health, that produce congruency practically, right? Like, in other words, everybody's got to drink water. Everybody needs to breathe air. Everybody needs to, everybody needs to exercise and have relationships. So what we did is we said, well, let's just make an assumption here, and let's assume that we're not supposed to be without these things because they're woven into the fabric. Like, gravity's here. Rather than try to say gravity shouldn't be here and judge the world that we're in, what if we just assume that we're supposed to have gravity, and we're supposed to breathe, and we're supposed to exercise, and we're supposed to have great sex because we are desiring to do that, and we're supposed to, right? So if we make these assumptions, what happens is there becomes a very clear path to entrepreneurship, to how we spend our time, to how we engage in relationships, to how we communicate, to how we fall in love, to how we do life, so to speak. And true living has really been about giving people those tools and structures and practical teachings and experiences to live life optimally. And that's why we call it true living, right? We call it the bridge to freedom, or whatever it is. that's really the background story. So if you use that same, Anthony, if you were to take a look at that same perspective of, well, we took a piece of marble and removed what wasn't David, right? So that David could shine through. We said, well, if this is what the human experience is required foundationally, and we know that we begin to see a degeneration when we remove these elements, what needs to take place for those elements to be present? And that, Anthony, came from years of working one-on-one with world-class people, and being responsible for their health and well-being and livelihood and many things over many, many, many years. Because I think where you typically would see, I have a background as a holistic, corrective holistic exercise kinesiology. I studied neurosomatic therapy. I studied, I've got a very colorful background, as well as being a lifetime entrepreneur and coming from a family of entrepreneurs and an engineer, right? So when you're working with people over a long period of time, unlike typical physicians or somebody, they go in, they prescribe something and they walk away. When you're with somebody over the course of 10 years, you see what works and what doesn't work. You see their ways of being. You see what makes them whole. You see these patterns. So it's really just been let's assume that you're perfect, whole, and complete because you are. What are the problems that are arising? How can we create a problem to solve those how can we create a product to solve those problems? And that's what birthed the True Living philosophy, and I'm fortunate to have amazing people like yourselves who come in and contribute these little gems. Guys, and everybody that's listening, I don't just believe it, I'm aware of it, right? There's a belief is kind of like a lie, so to speak. A belief is something you try to put into the world to be certain about the world, but it isn't necessarily tangible, isn't practical. Well, every person, when you're present to who that human being is, you're present to a unique experience, a unique expression, something that you can learn. It's like a flower. Every flower is slightly different, right? Every snowflake slightly different, and each person has a different unique ability. And the premise of the True Living model is that if we take each person's unique ability and put them in between these little sections, like in other words, Karina's unique ability and your unique ability and my unique ability, and we align our unique abilities up, create a container for that, right? Which we could talk about containers later, but create a container for you to stay within your unique ability and solve a collective problem. Now what we've got is a team, we've got a synergy system, we've got an incredible life experience. And I would say that beyond the money that we make and the transforming other people's lives, and I think that I would say that confidently, like us within this organization experience a phenomenal life experience.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, we do.
I love that. Do you want to comment or?
Yeah, well, okay. When you were talking, I had something that I wanted to bring up, which was, the fact that we are changing the way the world does business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing here. And that is huge. And I hope that the True Living team sees how huge this is, because I've been getting these visions of what we're doing and how it's making how it's going to change everything. And I just, it's amazing because, the world really needs a change, and we are facilitating that change in a very tangible way. And it's simple. And it really just starts with us. Like not just the three of us, but it starts with everybody that will come into True Living. The change shifts when the people shift. So if we're giving them a solution to have a sustainable business platform and program that allows them to become a leader of themselves. Everyone is a leader, but a lot of people forget that they are. So we're helping to remind them of their leadership ability and the product or service that they can bring into the world that will help the world in some way, and then giving them an audience to actually put that product or service out into the world and get respect for it and get paid to do that. And so we're giving them a platform where they can have their own workshops to teach others, to support others, and then those people will support them, and then that person will support them, and it's just a cycle of give and take in a community networking business platform. And I think that's like the most powerful thing that could happen in today's world, because what's the main currency of the world? It's money. Money is the main currency. So if we can change the way that people make money, we can change the systems of the world. That's how I see it.
You know, I want to piggyback that on that, Karina. You know, and we teach team, right? Time, energy, agreement, and money.
Right.
But if you look at those they're all resources, right? So yes, currency is what currently currency, the currency of the world right now is the dollar. But what we've really created here is like a structure for creating agreement, right? And for me, you know, every one of those: time, energy, agreement, and money, right? Time being how you utilize your time, energy being how you utilize your energy and your resources, and literally your health, right? Every time to show up on this Zoom or watch this, every person's got to have a level of health that's contributing to it, right? Agreement, your word, and the team that you create, and money, right? And so we teach this in our philosophy. But one of the things that I want to just, you know, share a little bit as an overarching theme is that culturally, you know, we have an agreement. We have a cultural agreement to engage in the habits that we engage in. We've been woven into this language, this literal conversation of this is right, this is wrong, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do, this is how you should get married, this is how you shouldn't get married, this is who you should be with, and blah, blah, blah. And it's this cultural agreement. And I think one of the things that we've done here is provide people with that foundational understanding of like, hey, listen, here's how you actually make money, here's how you structure your time, here's how you create a team, like real practical shit. Here's how you get healthy. Oh, by the way, here's a language in which you're not in a competitive space around it. Here's the language in which you can cultivate transformation amongst people that are inside of your community. And by the way, the same skill set that you use when you're navigating a contract. I mean, Anthony and I literally just got off the phone navigating a contract. We're gonna talk a little bit about some of that at some point. Really, really amazing people that are coming in this organization, right? So the same skill set that's required for you to emotionally keep yourself under wraps, to sincerely look for a win-win environment, right? Is the same, you know, when you're in business, is the same skill set that you need to use when you're having a conversation with your children, right? It's the skill set is a carryover skill set. And one of the most valuable things that I think that people often overlook is that, you know, reading about driving a car is not driving the car, right? And true living is an engineered experience, right? You go to a doctor and you get prescribed a medication. You come to True Living, you get to prescribe an experience. And that experience is to develop your leadership. It's to make you money. It's to hone you as an influencer, as somebody who is out there. And what's interesting is that we design the system so that when people come in, we can actually feel confident about making those referrals. You know, like honoring your word, showing up on time, being fully responsible. As a community, we've created this agreement so that when somebody comes in, it's like, yeah, no, as a member in our community, they're going to show up powerfully because we hold them accountable to that, and we expect to be held accountable to that as well. So it is actually changing a culture. And if you think about those cultures, you know, a culture in another country, that culture is largely in part due to the ability that they have a secluded language as well as a region, right? So we've created a secluded language amongst our community members that provides transformation and a way out, so there's no longer conflict. And that, I think, is what the world really needs today. You know, the polarization is all well and good, and that's what leads to people creating dollars and cents, so to speak, in the world. You know, we all see what's happening here with the media, what's happening with politics, what's happening. You know, everybody's at odds. Everybody feels that their stance is correct, but we teach people, you know, how to really actually connect with somebody beyond their political opinions, beyond what the media is saying, and beyond the human condition.
That path of least resistance that Mike always talks about. It's that center point between the two. And on our new website, I just updated the landing page image, and it's a guy sitting in the middle of a bridge. And the reason, like the symbolism behind that, is that you could take the bridge to that side and you could take the bridge from that side, but you get the most beautiful view when you're in the center.
Yeah. Now that's beautiful, Karina. And now what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite everybody who's watching this to take a look at our logo, right? So you guys can see our logo in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And I think at first glance, everybody sees something different. Some people say, oh, I see the bird, and then some people say, well, I see the face. And then some people can see the tree. But you'll notice that without each one of them in a codependent way, you wouldn't see any of them. You wouldn't be able to see the tree you wouldn't be able to see the face if the tree wasn't there. You wouldn't be able to see the face if the eye wasn't, like the bird alone would have no context. So I think like what happens is, and what made what we're doing here so possible is it was kind of like putting up a tent. You had to have people on every corner. It wasn't possible with me alone. It literally took a team of people pulling in different directions with extremely unique skill sets to get it up and running. And I would say like what it is, so how does that happen outside of having that? You've got to have a common understanding, a common faith, a common practice, a common philosophy. And I think that becomes the true living philosophy. And what I would say is like, where in the world can you go where you have an organization of people that are committed to your success above their own success? Which is interesting, right? My success lives in your success. And so when you have a conversation and everybody in that room is thinking that way, you've got unique perspectives on what's going to make you successful all the time. And you're heard from a different lens. And I would say that that's been one of the systems that we've got going here under True Living that you really can't find anywhere else.
Yeah, and I want to comment, like, when you first, and I didn't see it right away, it took a while. And I always share with Mike and everyone listening, please take a deep dive in. You have to actually see like the back office of True Living. Now, I have been partners with some of the greatest speakers in the world, like literally partners, and share the stage, and I'm not going to name drop, but just incredible people. I've never seen a back office like that. I've never seen a back office that speaks to, one of the gentlemen that was the right-hand man of a gentleman named Orrin Woodward. Gentleman's name is Denny Smith. He's very well in the direct selling industry, made millions and millions of dollars, helped a lot of people. He's actually my mentor's mentor, became one of my mentors. And he was the right-hand man of a gentleman named Orrin Woodward as well, too. Orrin, I think, is ranked number 6 by Inc. magazine. At least he was, like, top speakers in the world. I'll give you an example. Tony Robbins is ranked number 7, right? Put that in perspective. And, he would speak about all the F's of life, right? Your faith, your fitness, your friends, your family, your fun, your footprint, your finances, right? And this balance, right? Or this imbalance of life. And I believe the greatest struggle of life is that seesaw, right? Is that seesaw, I call it the balance of the F's. And I would speak a lot about this when I was on stage, is that, I have worked with people, very well-known professional athletes, scale 1 to 10 finance, like a 15, right? Millions of dollars, good to go, set for the rest of their life, kids are set for the rest of their life. Scale 1 to 10 family, like a 1. Wife left him. I got a call 1:30 in the morning. This one in particular. Wife left him for another professional athlete and just was devastated. Got to the point where he almost took his own life, right? Horrible, right? Had a downward spiral on his health, which, it's just a perpetual cycle. With that being said, what I love about this organization, right, is that when you look at the back office, right, it works on all the F's of life, so you can be, the most successful human being in the world, financially speaking. If your kids hate you, that's a problem, right? Or maybe your kids love you, right? And you have all this money. I was just talking to my buddy Ryan, he's a young guy I work with. He's one of my dear friends and I help mentor as well too. And we were talking about, we got an invite to the Bitcoin mansion in Miami. We're not there. We're doing this, by the way, right now, but we got an invite to it. And we were talking a little bit. And I said, so what would happen if, like, you had all the finances in the world, you lived in this big mansion, right? But then you couldn't get out of bed, right? So scale 1 to 10, people you have everyone around you, your friends and family, it's a 10. Finances is a 10, but your health, right, your fitness, it's like a 1, right? Well, that's not quality of life either. There's a very big difference. My father used to teach me this when I was younger, of quality of living and of quality of life and standard of living. They're 2 very different things. But if you can achieve both of them, you can definitely have quality of life. Then you can have that standard of living. I mean, that's the most beautiful thing. What I love about this, if you take a deep dive into the back office, you will literally see modules that will help you from a health standpoint. Like when I talk about macro and micro, from a standpoint, we all need same, macro minerals, right, and micro vitamins. We all need that, right? We're human beings, right? That's our species. But you might be more deficient in, iron. I might, have a little bit more, vitamin K in my blood, right? So there's these micro things. So what I love about this is that it gets very finite, cater to you, very a la carte, to help you basically be the ultimate you, right? The best version of yourself in every aspect of life. And, you know, we talk about the entrepreneur, you know, entrepreneur burnout. Again, you know, again, you can achieve all these things and just be burnt out. Like Tony Robbins would talk about, right? Like the astronauts that went to the moon, right? They went to the moon. They talked about going to the moon. They worked 19, 20-hour days. They would then go out to eat at the diner, talk 3 more hours, start over again the next day. They went to the moon. What happened? They went to the moon. They came back, and a lot of them committed suicide. A lot of them got involved with drugs and alcohol because they never reset, right, what that next proverbial mountaintop was. So it's always important to, you know, to really kind of gauge yourself where you're at in a scale 1 to 10 in all these aspects of life. And that's one thing I truly love about what we have here, is that, you know, we have gauges from a macro level and a micro level of exactly where you're at specifically, you know, in life, and how you can get yourself up to a proverbial 10 in each aspect of life and achieve balance. Because really homeostasis, we talk about water, that's really the most optimal outcome that we're all looking for.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Anthony. I mean, definitely. It's interesting too, because there's this, I forget what the effect of it is. They like the compound effect, because if you were to say, well, you know, let's take a look at like someone's financial situation on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your finances? You know, and some people would say, well, you know, I'm making enough money to pay my bills. I can't go out and eat at a restaurant, but I'm covering that basic expenses, right? And if you were to say, well, what is that? And they'd say, I give it a 7, right? Doesn't matter the number. I give it a 7. And maybe that's for them, it's $5,000 a month, 10 grand a month, something like that, right? And then if you were to say, well, from a 7, what would like great be, ideal be? Oh man, I'd be pulling in 50 grand a month or 100 grand a month personally. You know, I'd be hitting, you know, 1.2 million. So that 10 grand to get you to a 7, for you to get to a 7 to a 10 is an exponential increase. So if you're looking, so a lot of people are like, well, I'm at a 9 in an area. You know, from a 9 to a 10 is a huge gap, you know? So what happens is I think like the strategy that gets you from a 0 to a 7, you try to implement that same strategy to get from a 7 to a 10, because you figured, well, it's only another 7 points. You know, it's not that far to go, but it's a completely different strategy. And I have to say that we're fortunate enough to have spent enough time around some really high-end people who have given us the strategies that we're able to implement. You know, like a lot of the tips and tricks and things that we're doing came from working with millionaire top executive people and peering into their life over the course of years and finding out what worked and what didn't work on a very intimate level. You know, I've been fortunate to work with some amazing human beings. And when you're with somebody like that and you do what we do, which is fall in love with somebody and fall in love with your unique ability and then take that out, and that's amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm absolutely in agreement with what you're talking about, Anthony. And so I think, and everybody's got to listen. Everybody's got to listening, right? If we were to start doing that coaching right now, whoever it is that you are, I mean you. I don't mean like listen to this and glaze over it. I mean literally right now, you have an area in your life in which, when I say there's an area in your life, that's the area. You probably jump to it, and then you're like, I'm not going to focus on that area, right? Or it's that thing. It's the boogeyman. It's that thing that's in your life that needs to be addressed, that hasn't been addressed, that you're not addressing, that's been there, and it's probably been there forever. And it'll continue to be there forever, or continue to be there for a long time until it does get addressed. And so what happens is we oftentimes, sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's a financial situation, it's a job, it's a whatever. Oftentimes we'll go and we won't focus on that area, or we'll think that it's another area when it's really that. For example, a lot of people have a really shitty relationship with their significant other, right? And if you were to go and speak to that significant, you know, if you were to say, well, what's going on in that area of your life? They would say, well, you know, my significant other, you know, every time I go to speak to my significant other, they're always drinking, you know, or every time I try to speak to them, we start talking about money, and then there's an argument, right? That's an often one for entrepreneurs, right? So the real problem is if I only had more money, or if that person only stopped drinking. right? Which would be the tendency to think, because it's very easy to say, well, if you had more money, then you wouldn't be arguing about money and your relationship would be great. Or if that person stopped drinking, you wouldn't be but what's really there is a completely different issue that we do wind up getting to the heart of, because it isn't that human being and it isn't the money, right? It's the ability for you to communicate. It's the ability for you to connect. It's the ability for you to create a future vision, and to be authentic as to what it is that you want, and have a structure and create relationships, right? Create agreements. So that's like a little peek into it. But I would say that, whoever you are, whatever it is that you're listening to now, whatever area of your life that you feel like needs to be addressed or hasn't been addressed, or whatever that may look like you owe it to yourself to get to the bottom of that, because that won't be there. That will continue to be there. If maybe some people, it's showing up on time, and they show up on time, and they don't show up on time, and they continue to go and rush from event to event to event to event. And it's like that for years, and they have it that there's a shortage of time, right?
Oh.
And
Are you guys close to me?
Anthony goes, I wasn't talking to that, Anthony.
Yeah.
I love this.
I've been known to try to fit 61 minutes into a 60-minute and fit 62 conversations in that hour. Yeah, so yeah, I get it.
No,
that was very subconscious, brother. I know that was sublingual.
That wasn't for you. No.
Actually, subliminal, not sublingual.
No. But I'm serious. Like, how many times? No, think about it. How many appointments do people go to rushing around? But there's this skill set of managing time, And so everybody owes it to themselves to take the time to really get to master yourself, right? Master the ability to make a vision. We talk about to reveal a little bit about the philosophy. We start off in the middle with the path of least resistance, the Tao. It's the balance point. It's the middle of the Tai Chi, right? And you have left, you have right, you have hot, you have cold, and everything kind of emerges out of that. And then from there, we have a triangle. And that triangle has process, which is similar to management, right? Then it has self-mastery, which is your ability to be a technician, your ability to get the job done, to do the task that's at hand, to execute on your unique ability. And then there is entrepreneur and vision, right? The entrepreneurial vision. And that's so important, right? And then if you get bigger, we have time, money, health, and which is energy, and agreement. So I think one of the things that is really wild is you have a philosophy of being perfect, whole, and complete. Then you have a very Taoist, I would say, kind of perspective on being perfect, whole, and complete, in that you're looking to find balance, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, you have a very business-oriented perspective, which is you're looking for self-mastery. But you're looking for self-mastery included in the ability to make processes. It's not a biased self-mastery. And then as we grow out, that we have that true business container or true human being container. And I would say that there's, from within that, you can get into all these little subcategories, but I would argue that there is nothing other than that. I would argue that when you venture out of the present moment into intention setting, into direction making, into processes, those elements are constantly at play no matter what it is that you're doing. And I think that's kind of the heart of the philosophy, like you're talking about, Anthony. It's just that strong.
Absolutely. Karina's got that big smile. I know she's got
something. She does. I'm like, Anthony will know that I want to say something. Anthony's a mind reader, in case anybody wants to know. You cannot lie to Anthony. He will always know you are lying. Not that I've tried, but I just know that you'll know.
Spider sense.
That's true living. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say that, as we're talking about like an authentic lifestyle of balance, I love that on our Wednesday night Zooms, which is like, if you want to get involved in what we do, and if you want to create this new sustainable business platform, or just to meet some freaking awesome people, because we have a huge community of mindful industry leaders. But the whole point of these Wednesday night Zooms, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is that there's a link in the bio of the Instagram.
Karina.
But I wanted to say that the whole point of these is to get people to be vulnerable with each other. And that is authentic communication, is when you can take your mask off and just be who you are, because everyone else is in the same boat. It's like we literally have an agreement essentially to take your mask off. Like, just be yourself. We are here with each other now. We are here to help each other out. We are a community. We are joining as one. You know, what do you need? How can I support you? You know, like, and it's really cool because we ask like 3 questions. What we've been doing recently is we've been asking 3 questions, and they go really, really deep into like who you think of yourself to be, and versus who you really are, versus how other people see you. And that's just a start of it, you know, like it goes so deep. And you also get the chance to authentically share what you do, what you're passionate about. And where do you ever get to do that? And where do you ever get to do that with people that are like
trained in giving you feedback?
Well, that but also the other people that are joining, you know, they're also amazing people that are making changes in the world. And you get to come out in front of them and tell them why you are also helping to change the world and be valued for that. You know, I can't think of anywhere.
Yeah, it's a merging of ecosystems, because when you have that, you have the foundation for authentic relationship. And when you have the foundation of authentic relationship, what naturally happens is people become friends, they build businesses, and there's success, because you're really listening for the success of other people. And you can't do it alone. You know, we like to say it's 6 figures in 4 days a week or less. And, you know, 6 figures in 4 days a week or less. You know, that's living a healthy lifestyle, right? That's the mission, right? So, but you can't do that alone. You just can't. Guys, there's an illusion that you can do that alone in the marketplace, but you're going to burn yourself out. You need to have a team of people. You cannot compete in marketing. I can't do marketing the way that Karina can do it. You know, I just can't do it the way that you can do it, Karina.
I can't speak the way you can speak, and I can't sell the way Tony can sell. Like, you know, I can't create relationships the way Anthony just like goes in there and just creates these solid relationships with people. You know, Mike goes in there and just like goes so deep into their psyche and like just takes out the bullshit, you know, and then I just make everything beautiful. Not myself, but like through my art.
Fiction entertainment.
It's so fun. She describes
fiction entertainment.
she describes me like Professor Xavier from the X-Men. It's like James McAvoy or something like that. I encourage everybody. You know, I get a lot of positive feedback from, you know, we have people all around the world. I mean, tomorrow we're gonna have a dear friend from Bulgaria. All right, with literally it's not the first, excuse me, I keep saying the first, it's the largest historic park in the world, right? He's going to be on, right? And he needs funding to build a platform for the next level. We have a friend, John Pio, we love him, right? From Kenya, comes in at whatever time it is, I think like 3 a.m. or something, right? Yeah. You know, we have people from England, we have Hollywood producers on, you know, we have the brand new person that literally started their business like a month ago, right? And they're filling their dharmas, driving them this way. And it's cool, you know, and it's like, yeah, we literally
authors, publishers, all of it.
Yeah. We everyone. Yeah, it's amazing. It's everyone. Yeah, firefighters, cops. No, but yeah, and you're right. Everyone, literally every occupation known to man. But
also, wait, can I cut you off just for a second? Because while we're talking about everyone, we literally have everyone, all ages. Like people from all generations, people from all colors, all backgrounds, all industries, like you know, all types of styles. You know, like we got the super hippies and we got like the super business people, and they all come together as one. We got Democrats, Republicans. We have people from all sides, every angle coming in as one. Oh my God, Mike, it's like the crystal. There's this 12-sided crystal that when you look at the bottom of it, you can see all the angles. Yeah, I know. I'm getting really passionate right now. But there's this crystal where it has 12 different sides. And when you look at it from the bottom where they all meet, you can see a spiral in the middle and you see every single facet. And it's so beautiful. And that's really like sort of what we're doing here is we're just joining all the different angles of the world into this one time at this one space. So if you could sort of imagine it like all these different streams of consciousness are all joining together at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday night. And just going to say that again. And having like real intimate, authentic, vulnerable conversations about them and about what they're trying to do in life and about the collective as a whole. I just think that's incredible. Whew.
Well, you know, one of the things about that,
Random people walking on the set too. It's no.
one of the things that I think that's really noteworthy about it is that everybody walks away with a tremendous amount of value. So it's interesting. I mean, mute you, Anthony. Mute yourself.
I'll mute myself.
Yeah. So one of the things, but don't turn your camera off. But one of the things that I think that takes place that most people don't realize is that there is this tremendous. When you think that you're not going to find value out of someone, I can guarantee that is a clear, distinct indicator that you should get past yourself and you owe yourself to really get to know that person.
Sure.
Because there's a gem inside of there. And one of the things that we do here is we merge ecosystems. So while these people are speaking, you know, while they're connecting in this particular format, because this is an engineered experience, guys. It isn't just like people showing up, right? It's an engineered experience. It's a culture. It's a community, right? There literally becomes a merging of ecosystems. And so I've received referrals and created business opportunities from on the backs of people that I had no idea. You know, I had no expectation of the conversation being anything. I thought I was just going to be there giving them, you know, information and advising them and whatever. And they came back and were able to exponentially help the growth of this organization. And I see that consistently. So it's really like an egoless mining of collective resources. And it's wild because we call it a synergy, right? The synergy system, or said differently, like a mastermind. You know, a mastermind, the idea behind a mastermind is that there's a third mind that's created, which is the sum total of the collectives, right? Which is much more masterful than the individuals. And it's the same idea with the synergy system. You know, you have the synergy of all the independent people coming together, looking to really support each other. And what shows up is a massive amount of value and conversations and people and resources that you had no idea, because when somebody's there in a group of people and they say, hey, listen, guys, this is what I need A, B, and C, you know, you've been open and vulnerable and you've done the work to know that is in fact what you need. And you know the time that's going to be required, the money that's required, the energy that's required, and the agreement that's required to pull it all off. And you're crystal clear on that. Now you've got an incredible weapon to go into the world to accomplish what it is that you're looking to accomplish. And you have given the people that are in the organization the opportunity to contribute to you. And now you're just merging relationship. It's just a really solid platform to get it done, as well as experience life at that next level.
Amen. As I give an example, my buddy Ryan, who just snuck in here and put his hands himself in here, you know, that he's young guy, 24, just turned 25 years old, right? And he's brilliant in what he knows, right? He knows he's teaching me about the millennial market share and how they buy and what they do. And he knows all about, you know, things that I don't even know on LinkedIn and all that. And, you know, and I'm working with him with networking and connecting and helping to listen to people to, you know, grab what they need, right? And then go help to fulfill it, go find take person A to go find person B. You just help the dream come true, right? So it's that whole, like the scriptures say, iron sharpens iron. You know, that's what it's really all about, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And a quick testimonial, one of our dear friends who's really big in the author space literally has, he's come on a lot of our Zooms and he worked very closely with Mike. And he literally said that, you know, he was almost ready to, I don't like to use this term at all, it actually frustrates me, but almost give up on his business, right? I'm not going to say that anymore. I hate even saying that. And he started working with you, Mike, and he got to kind of see like a bigger picture and got to visualize better and really harness manifestation, things like that. And out of nowhere, in a pandemic, you know, it's like the law of sowing and reaping. The seeds he planted months ago, right now it's reaping. Like Jim Rohn used to always talk about that, law of sowing and reaping. And he's getting all these checks coming in the mail from seeds he planted from a business model that he didn't know was going to, you know, basically produce fruitage, right? And he got that from being around our group. You know, he literally gives us, you know, this is an established guy too, by the way. So it's, you know, that's just one testimony. There's so many, but it's exciting. At the end of the day, if you put people in a space where the mask can come off and people, you know, like literally and you know, speaking, the mask is off, and also, you know, metaphorically speaking, you know, nowadays we say literal too, because we all wear masks now. literal and metaphorically speaking. If you let people be, if you let people be a human being, right, then humans can go and accomplish incredible things. That's what it comes down to.
Yep. When we all get together and agree to accomplish incredible things together,
Amen.
So, yeah, so that is absolutely beautiful. Now, in conclusion, is there anything that you guys would like to, well, okay. So yeah, let me just share one thing. It's for those of you guys that are watching this right now, it kind of seems like there's this organization that you kind of got to go and become part of. But I want you to consider that by virtue of you listening to this right now, you're already part of it, that you are part of the movement, that it's only going to grow, that you're only going to see us more and more. We're not going anywhere. And that you can get involved, that, you can literally comment below. You could follow the links. It's True Living Tribe is the Facebook group. Just ask to join it, and you'll notice that even hopefully in the sharing of what you're listening to right now, if you're listening to what it is that we're sharing, you're going to recognize that there's something here, right? And if you don't, that's okay. You're just not ready for it, right? But if you're listening, you're feeling called, you should answer that calling, because it is your highest calling, and it will be pulled out of you in this organization, and you owe it to yourself to discover who it is that you really are and who it is that you can become. And there's no better place to do it than here. So what I would encourage everybody to do is to get involved, to begin to, whether or not you're doing it, to begin to have those powerful conversations, become vulnerable, lean into the edge of leadership within your own community and learn how to do it. And join the Facebook group, because that is one of the places in which we're dropping content like this inside of it.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool.
Any, yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Anthony.
I would say, to piggyback off what you're saying, one of my favorite quotes ever, and I didn't get it for years. Kind of like when you read Think and Go Rich, and you got to read it, 2-3 times over. There's that saying. One of my mentors, Gary Racer, is one of the top 25 direct sellers of all time. Trained literally side by side with Tony Robbins, and trained by Jim Rohn. And he would say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Right? I didn't know what that meant years ago. In my early 20s, I had no clue what that meant. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So bottom line is, my ask is that if in any aspect of your life, you're just not at a 10, you're not happy somewhere, right? If you feel like you're just missing something, then come, take your mask off and join a group of synergistic, heart-centered people that truly actually freaking love you, like really care, like really, really authentically care, people before profits, point blank, and then just go ahead and just, share your gift and get yourself up to a 10, or at least, balance yourself out just a little bit, and then pay it forward, pay it forward to others.
Yeah, it's a free meeting.
Yeah, it's a free, literally
invite meeting.
invite whoever you want. You just come, show up, and just experience what we're talking about. Because really, I mean, I don't want this to sound like, oh, we're trying to push you into our community. No, we're just trying to put it out there so that that this is an option for you. And if you've been looking for a way out of
the bullshit that's
out of the bullshit
of the media and everything else,
literally, if you are looking for your way out of the bullshit that's happening right now in the world, please join this Zoom Wednesday nights, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can register for the link in the bio of our Instagram, of our Facebook. It's pretty much all there. I'll double check that though. We're about to have a new website launching very soon. And that's where we will also have a small business showcase where we'll show that we're supporting all these small businesses so that we can literally start to build new earth, we're going to start to support all of the businesses that will be sustainable. It's literally all about sustainability.
That's right.
And to do that, we have to support each other in that. So we're going to support each other's businesses so that we can see new things grow, a new system grow. And so please, do yourself a favor, join and invite whoever who would benefit from this.
Karina, I just want to drop a little bit of information for anybody who's still thinking about this, right? The future is not going to be information. Guys, right now, there's an abundance of information. If you can think of it and phrase it into a question, somebody out there is selling you their solution. It's not information, right?
Awesome.
It's just not, guys. It's not. The future is not going to be information, and the technology companies are growing, and they're growing faster, and they'll continue to pull away. Google will only get more and more wealthy. Amazon will grow and grow and grow until they, right. So if you look at, if you're able to see the trends here, you're going to begin to see something become available inside of relationships. The success of your business is going to be built on the relationships that you have today. And your business is what's going to fuel your family, fuel your freedom, fuel all those F's, right? So you owe it to yourself to begin to learn how to create powerful relationships that actually lead towards friendship as well as finances, right? So that's what we're really asking you to do. And we're asking you to step into a leadership role within the organization. We're here to train you as leaders, right? Because that's what the world needs. Entrepreneurs are the ones that are taking on the challenges and the problems of the world. Every business has been started by an entrepreneur, and businesses solve world problems, right? So let's cut through the bullshit and make it happen. You've got an inner entrepreneur, an inner visionary, an inner technician that's waiting to come out and scream and start solving problems. And you owe it to yourself to really nurture that human being and discover who you are in the process, right? So what I'm going to say is get involved. I don't think I need to say anything else. And by the way, guys, we're not here like it may feel like we're hard selling you. That's not the case at all. It's just when you have something that's worth sharing, you share it unapologetically, because it's the difference between somebody succeeding and not. I know that the tools that are in here are life-changing, that there's all kinds of reasons that you might be experiencing right now, and those reasons are preventing you from success. Like, think about that. Like, all those reasons why you wouldn't show up, those reasons are probably preventing you from success. We have more than enough resources for us to get the job done collectively. And the fact that you haven't asked for them, or you're thinking of it, right? So just live unreasonably here for a moment and show up, share what it is that you're doing. It's free. And that's it. Just
I want to say, yeah, I just want to say, you can't do it alone. Like, you may try. I have been the type of person, y'all know, that I'm like, I can do everything else. I don't need anyone. Like, but like, okay, I've learned the hard way. You can't do it alone. Like, really, you need the support of a community. It takes a tribe. It does take a tribe in order to make this happen. And because you know why you can't do it alone? Because can you grow money? Are you allowed to print your own money? No, you literally need to work for someone, or you need a customer to buy your product, or like, it has to cycle through. So we're just getting it to cycle through faster and more, so that's what we do.
That goes. Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Karina. That is so true.
Told you she was Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman up in here. Anthony, is there anything that you'd like to share before we close out here?
No, just very quickly, piggyback again off what you guys are saying. At the end of the day, the greatest pitcher in the entire world in the game of baseball is the worst catcher, right? And the best catcher is the worst first baseman. My point is exactly what you said. You can try to be that solopreneur and just beat yourself over and over again and try to do it, be that lone wolf. I've done that too, got told a lot of negative things from family, friends, things like that. And it fuels you and it gets you there for a while. Mike and I, we were talking about this earlier. You can either lead by push, or you can lead by pull, right? And it's a lot easier to lead by pull, right? There's that saying, you can, I love this saying, you can lead 1,000, but you can't drag 3. You can lead 1,000, but you can't drag 3. So when you think about that, it's about, setting up your proverbial baseball team and making sure that you got the catcher and the first baseman and the shortstop and everything like that. Do it properly, set it up properly, lead by pull, lead with love. And I believe that's what true living is all about, live true.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll share is that it is about you going into the world and creating your tribe. You know what I mean? It's not a one-way street. It's a tribe making machine, So it's like, come in and join and stay. It's like, no, go in the world and change people's lives.
Yeah.
By creating communities that are around your ideas, your vision, your mission, because we make sure that we're supporting people that are out there changing the world in a positive manner.
And I just want to say, there are literally tribes of amazing human beings all over the world and especially all over this country. And I had the opportunity this weekend to meet with some East Coast tribes and their leader, tribe leaders, whatever, whoever, organizes it. And we are all going to be coming together on these Zooms so that you actually have an outlet. Depending on wherever you live, you can actually go meet up with your tribe and create community changes. And that is just huge. That is huge, huge. Nothing like this exists out there yet. So, I mean, now it does. We're creating it.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're going way over.
We're in your community. We're taking over.
It worked for Mr. Rogers, right? It worked for Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So,
guys.
all right, guys. I hope you all have a beautiful evening. And thank you, Karina. Thank you, Anthony, for joining us this evening, joining me, and spending some time. And thank every one of you guys for listening. You are the transformation in the world. Go out there and make it happen. Remember, it isn't going to happen unless you take action. So I love you all and have a great night. And we're going to close out with our Live True. You guys ready?
All right.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Live True.